Okay, so we are going to start on today's topics of accounting and banking and doing some stuff like that. So, right off the bat, what is a natural flow and process of things happening? So say Shannon just barely created an invoice. So she had a customer, Adrienne, okay, and through the shopping cart interface, she ended up creating an invoice for $90, okay? She got $90 cash. What's a logical thing that would need to happen with that $90?
Deposit it in the bank.
Okay, well, don't you already have the money? Or like, guess what? The system has no clue that you actually want to deposit it. So what it does is all the monies that come in on your invoices, technically what it does is it holds it in a little container, okay? And today we are going to talk about multiple little containers. I'm going to draw a little analogy here, okay? And I'm sorry if my marker doesn't really draw that well. But we're going to kind of pretend that we have multiple containers or holding spots, okay? So what happened, each little spot has a checkpoint that it has to go past in order to be advanced to the next room, okay? So what happened, customer came in, Shannon created an invoice, everything was happy and hunky-dory, and she left. So technically, the invoice would be right here in this holding area, okay? However, it has not been deposited. We haven't done any payroll. It hasn't been locked up. Like, there are different levels that you can take it to if you want to, okay? So currently, what happens is Shannon's example right there, just a simple invoice transaction, she advanced the ball, okay? Now, one of the cool things that we can actually do inside of Adilas is we actually say, you know what, let's actually add some permissions as well, okay? So each of these checkpoints, we can actually add different permissions, okay? So say Shannon did this and she serviced the whole thing. Now, if she's just all by herself, she'll probably have the availability to deposit it and then maybe reconcile it in the bank or whatever, okay? Like, there are different pieces of its life cycle that will need to happen. But each checkpoint is technically another permission. What we do is we just advance the ball from one holding area to the next holding area to the next holding area, depending on what happens. Everything runs over time, okay? It has a life cycle, okay? If something starts here and it only went to here, that's totally fine, okay? What if something starts here and is still going and we don't know when the end of the life cycle is? That's okay. That's okay. It'll just keep rolling out and out and out until we tell it what those different parts are along that way, okay? Every single thing has a life cycle. It's very important that you kind of know that. Okay, we're going to start with banks and deposits then, okay? On the map, basically what we're going to start out with is we already have some actions. We just did what's called an operation. We have an invoice. So we want to eventually make it hit here in the bank, okay? So here's the process. We already have this invoice, shopping cart, customer type thing, and we have a little bit of money left over, okay? So technically, the little bit of money is either here in the invoice department, or imagine a small little corner of the AR waiting room. And AR, Shannon, what does AR kind of stand for?
Accounts receivable.
Accounts receivable. That's money that is owed to you, okay? So technically, why would we put the little deposit or her money, basically it's in a cash drawer, okay? Or some sort of an envelope, a drawer, a box, your pocket, like, somehow it's currently waiting. It has not been advanced to that next little bubble, if you want, okay? So what we do is when we're ready to do deposits, okay, we go from deposits and we grab monies from there, from the cash drawer, into a deposit. We build a one-to-many relationship, okay? So you have the main deposit right here up at the top, okay? This is the main, and this has the bank and the amount and the date and all that kind of stuff. And then you start going like this. What am I actually going to be depositing? And these are your line items, okay, for your bank. So you have a main and a line items. And so we're going to build a one-to-many relationship, and then eventually we push it off into the bank. Now, I realize that your bank probably is not within your physical model, but we wanted to put it here because it ties to these different pieces of the puzzle. Technically, it's outside, and you can have 5, 10, 15, 1. Doesn't make a bit of difference, but like For the model, just pretend that we have to take it to the bank, okay? We're going to go create a deposit with a main and then a number of line items. Okay, some of you guys have done this tons of times and you're like, oh man, this is old hat. But if you haven't, we're going to take you into those pieces of the puzzle, okay? I'm going to go home. I'm currently on the My Favorites interface. There are tons of different interfaces based on like how you would like it to look. We just barely use the map. Maybe we'll use the map for today, okay? I'm going to flip that to my default, and I'm going to click Home. So now, if you wanted to do a deposit, you literally just click on Deposits. Currently, it's saying, hey, I don't have anything going on. I can even look, hey, what do I have that's kind of hanging in my drawer? Payment's not yet deposited. Whoa, I've got 9 of them. Oh, they're not super old. They're just kind of, oh, wow, look, that's way back in 12. You know, like, basically, this is a demo site, so somebody didn't really do it. We're worried about the ones that happened either yesterday or today. Say I wanted to put all of these different ones. Looks like we've just got a couple checks and cash and check. So I can combine all of those on the same deposit. It's not American Express versus a Visa. So I'm like, sweet, this will be easy. All I did is just pop in, what do I have in my drawer? Now I haven't done any math or anything. I'm just going to start adding this thing together. What I do is I click here, create a new deposit. Okay. And according to this one, it has a default bank. This probably tells me that not much time has been spent here as far as actually setting up the physical bank. We're going to go ahead and tie it into that, no problem. I have no clue how much I'm really going to deposit. I'll fix this later. As soon as I put a 0 here, you almost have to tell yourself a little mental flag. Oh, I'll have to fix that later. I'm not sure. And then I'm just going to say my first deposit. Now, these notes are for you to search. The bank doesn't see them. They're not worried about it. This is for you. This might be like projects for Brandon and Brianne. And I don't even know how you spelled her name, but like, yes. Hang on just one second. We have to get some keys. Somebody needs car keys. There you go.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay, I don't really know how to spell her name. I'm just going to pretend that this is what it was. And there's no R in there. Pretend that that's her name. We'll say add the deposit. So what it did is we basically created a new little container. And remember how I drew the little scenario where we had the main up at the top and then we were going to slowly do the line items? What we have right now is we have the main. It gave me the deposit of number 2. Okay, this is the new deposit number that I have. So that's my big main container. It currently says, here's the date, here's my total. I don't know yet. What we're going to do now is kind of start going click, 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 and starting to add some line items to our deposit according to what's actually happening, okay? So basically what we're going to be doing right now is I'm going to scroll down, build sales deposit. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm looking. So right here I have my 12s way back a long time ago, some counter sale. That's probably water that needs to be cleaned out, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, okay? Yesterday and the day before, we made a couple different sales, and so I'm going to go this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And as I was doing it, it was slowly adding up some of the totals for me. So in order to advance these to the next step where they actually stick and become part of that deposit, I have to just check some of my settings. Usually you will just leave this alone unless you have multiple locations or unless you're flip-flopping different deposit types. But by default, normally you're going to do it under invoice sales. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create this deposit. Okay, so here's my number. Remember how it was number 2? To default bank, I have 0 information here on my bank yet. But I technically have $390 worth that is actually potentially tied to back invoices. Adrienne, I totally misspelled her name, okay? But if I needed to, I could literally just go up and fix that piece of cake. I actually have to do it, I'm going to be on the edit main anyway. Shannon, do you see any problem with this deposit? We currently have the main, and we have line items. We have 5 of them.
Your main doesn't have your correct amount, so it's not happy about the math.
Okay, so there's a couple flags right here, okay? I don't have a printable link up here. I don't have a verify in case I have like additional permissions. So I don't have that. It flags me here. It says, whoa, something's wrong. It flags me here. whoa, there's a remaining amount. Somehow I'm off, okay? It also flags you back here on this one, a little frowny face. I'm sorry, something's wrong with this, okay? Like technically, it's kind of saying, okay, we started the process, but I don't think I'm fully finished yet, okay? I'm just going to go right back to the page that I was on. I just wanted to show you where it's flagging me, okay? We're going to go Edit Main. So remember how I drew that big box and then all the little line items? The problem is in the big box, which is this information here, okay? Edit Main. Aha! Hey, here's the sum of the line items. Is this what you're looking for? Yes, it is. And because I'm right here, I'm just going to do a quick little modification and say Edit Deposit. Click. So at this point in time, my deposit is happy. So look at this. I now have verify links. I have printable links. I have no problems here. I have no problems here. There's multiple places that it'll flag you. Also, my deposit homepage, no frowny faces. Okay, it's like cool. My main matches the sum of my line items. You want to check that because that's important, because otherwise you technically don't have everything fully put to bed or fully to rest. Okay. So at this point, that's how easy it was to do a deposit. Okay. So like we drew those little boxes. Okay. And I'm probably going to have to get me a real graphic so that you can kind of figure out what's going on. Check this out. Invoice, we took it from the invoice and we advanced some of that money into a deposit, okay? So technically, more time is going to start elapsing. Does the bank immediately see this? Okay. The bank may not see it for a day or two. Say it's Friday and Monday's a holiday and you get it in the night depository. When is that thing going to hit your bank?
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Who knows, okay? So basically what happens, think of little time spots or like that you kind of keep advancing the ball into, okay? So invoices, we did the deposit, but the bank doesn't know about it yet, okay? And we haven't reconciled it on our end, okay? Just say that you needed some of those little pieces of the puzzle, okay? So that's where it's at this point, just to show you where it shows up. And I would really like to modify our bank a little bit. We don't have any information in there, okay? What we're going to do is there's a number of links that you can do, okay? I can click on bank balance right here. It's a link. Once again, these are all tied to permissions. So if I click on bank balance, hey, cool, looks like I have $3.95 in my bank, okay? Now mine was for $3.90, so $5 of that must have been from another deposit. I would just have to go back and look at the register. It's a piece of cake, okay? So what I want to do right here is I'm going to actually go home. I'm currently right on the spot that I want to be, but I want to show you how we get there. Here's the link that I wanted to go. Banks. Boom. This is the running bank balances. If you have multiple banks, they'll be listed here. If you really want to interact with this bank and modify something other than viewing its register, you need to go to the bank homepage. Okay? What it does is it'll look very similar, but it adds links and options to print checks and stuff like that. So we're going to click bank homepage. Okay? I'm now on the bank homepage, and I now have an option to actually get into this bank and kind of modify some different pieces of the puzzle. Okay? Okay, I'm going to call this First National Bank. Okay? If you want, you can put these in. Just so you know, here's another piece that's some security issues, if you will. Anything that we deem that is a security piece of the puzzle, when we store it, we encrypt it for storage. So not only is it being encrypted as it goes across the internet over the secure socket layer, but when it even hits the final destination, we garble it through what's called a hash, which is basically a mix of a bunch of different things. Okay, we do a little hash, and so to you it might look like, you know, whatever. It's not real English. And so, does it prevent full hacks? It keeps honest people honest. Okay, that's what door locks do. Okay, like there are certain levels where you're like, whew, and we don't even know who these people are. But I'm just trying to express that you try to keep honest people honest, and you play the security game as much as you can, and you go from there. So, you know, here's some of their information. You could actually tell it if you wanted different check types. You can have starting amounts. You can have contact persons information, a bunch of bank type information. I'm cool with check on the top. I'm just going to hit Edit Bank. Basically what I wanted to do is just kind of change the name so it's now going to be called First National instead of default. Okay. Cool. So if I click View Register right now, all I see is my $390 deposit from right here. Now, we know that there's another $5 that beginning, okay, looks like on 8/31. I bet you if I flowed this way back, all the way to August of 2000 and hit the View Register there, I don't see anything. I would actually have to go find that first deposit. Somehow, somebody did another deposit. So watch this. Deposit number 1, what's the date? Cash, cash, cash. Oh, way back in 12. Okay, so it wouldn't have found it in August because it didn't exist in that point. But basically, somebody just did a small little deposit just kind of playing in this little demo site. So piece of cake, we can get back to the information and see it, no problem. However, we know we have a still small problem here, okay? There's a number of these ones that are clear back from 2012 that totally don't even, we don't really even care about those in a way, okay? Like, that's water so far under the bridge that we don't even know how that plays into the puzzle, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the deposit homepage, and if you have the admin permission, you have a little tool that says View Cleanup Payments. And I'm going to click it, and I'm going to say, this is some filtering if you want, and you can kind of come down here, and I am not sure if I actually have the full admin permissions. I'm just able to view them here. You should be able to have a little checkbox here. So that kind of tells me that I probably need to check permission. You may not even know what you're looking for here. If you needed to, you could check the help file, but you should be able to go click, 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 clean up.
What's the admin clean up this page?
What's that?
That link at the top, the admin clean up this page, does that only come if you have the admin permission? So you just need that permission.
Okay, so maybe, and it may have been a while since I've been here, but good call. I was actually expecting little check boxes right here to kind of do it. But if I say admin clean up this page, to what date do I want to go back to? It looks like 12/28/12. Okay, what's the cleanup date? Maybe it's been a while since I've been here. Maybe I should slow down and read it. Let's read it real quick. Shannon, can you read this real quick?
Using this form will do a bulk cleanup of this page. The process is reversible, but only on a one-by-one basis. Basically, it will force each payment to a deposited status and set the deposit number to 0 unassigned. This cleanup process is only recommended if you are trying to get a new clean slate to start from. Everything prior to it, including this date, will be cleaned up.
Use
the
form.
month-day format.
Okay, good call. Good. Okay, so basically it just cleaned all of those pieces up, right? I was expecting a checkbox here, and not that it's a big deal, but guess what? This page would also have its own little help file as well, if I needed to kind of like, what's going on here? Every page has a help file, no matter where you're at. If you're on the deposit homepage, click Help. This is relative to the deposit homepage as far as what's going on that type of thing. If you're on the Edit Line Items of a physical deposit, guess what the help file is going to be related to? The line items. What can you do? What happens where? Okay? There are tons of different help files, but I was expecting another little piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So from the deposit homepage, if I click on Payments Not Yet Deposited, I'm currently with a clean, open slate. Okay? So because we're still on deposits, let's pretend that people come in and pay us some more money. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on this right here. Who owes me money? I want to even see who we have. Looks like what we have is currently owed. Brandon owes us almost 90, and Cheryl owes us 75. So let's go ahead and pay some money towards Brandon. Okay? Let's pretend that it's a different day now. I realize we just did a deposit, but what we're trying to do is just kind of practice some. So let's say Apply Payments. So currently he only has one invoice that's outstanding. And do we want to pay off this whole thing, or do we want to? Great. So Brandon came in and paid off the whole thing. Using this little checkbox will actually distribute it to these lower fields. And especially if you have multiple, that's very handy, because then it kind of, if not, like say you're like, oh, I just want to pay for this one and I just want to pay for this one, and please leave this one outstanding, that turns into a manual process. And then you would just say, yes, I want to pay this one and only $50 towards it, and this one towards this. And it'll kind of help you start doing the math, but you need to get the math done. If you use this box, we do the math and help you do it for it type thing, okay? You click here, and you come down, and how did Brandon pay on this?
He paid with his card, he said.
Visa card, okay. Now, I look at this and I say, oh, according to what I see right here, I don't think that this person is actually set up with merchant processing through Adilas, just because of this logo versus just the Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover logo. Like, this logo to me kind of says, oh, I may not even have that setting. So I would then technically run my card on the side, and I would get my approval number, whatever that approval number was. 5 digits, click it here, apply the payment. Click. Hey, successfully applied one payment to current invoices. Do you want to see that invoice? Do you want to, like, say they wanted to print it out or whatever you needed to do? Or, hey, cool, I'm ready to create a new deposit. Click. Did we want to do more payments? Did we want to pay off Cheryl's as well?
Let's pay off Cheryl.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go home again real quick and back to the AR waiting room. Brandon's already flowed off of the page because his is now satisfied, and we have a $75 amount here, okay? We could do the same thing, apply payments. We'll just do this just so we can kind of get some repetition. How much did Cheryl pay on hers?
She paid her class off.
Perfect, so $75. One small warning, if you're trying to do change due, you do not want to do this apply payment page. You actually want to go to the physical invoice, and then it'll figure out the change due. This is kind of assuming like, okay, boom, I'm just going to be blasting a bunch of numbers in. It's not necessarily change due oriented, okay? So we'll just distribute that. And how did she pay? Let's say check. We'll just put in a check number. Okay, perfect. If you want some notes, you can totally put some notes in. If you're a note taker, that's great. What if I put something like this? Okay, does that ever happen? Absolutely. Okay, so you say apply payment. So technically what's happening is basically these invoices are being satisfied. So if I were to go to my receivables homepage, I currently have basically nothing in here. This is an old one that good luck collecting that money. You don't even have a customer on it, okay? So that was basically somebody just using a PlaySite, hammering it in, putting it on account, but not actually knowing who it was actually physically tracked to, okay? So at this point, I now have a bunch of stuff on my deposit homepage. So if I go here and I say, what do I have still outstanding? I have 2 different payments. But Cheryl says, please don't deposit mine until tomorrow. Okay? So I'm actually going to just do a small little deposit for the $89.30. Okay? Deposit homepage. Create new deposit. $89.30. I remembered the number. Add the deposit. It's going to show me my options. I just want to do the $89.30 and add it to the deposit. Click, click, click. Because I knew the thing right off the bat, I'm done. I just created my main, and this one only has 1 line item compared to 5 or whatever it might be. Okay. So technically, if I needed to circle back around, there are options to go back to those other. All 3 of those things that I'm mousing over right there will take you right back to other payments that are outstanding. I don't want to put Cheryl's on here because she told me to hold it. So I'm temporarily going to leave that in my drawer-ish or my kind of quasi-receivables section for just a minute. Okay? So if I go to my deposit homepage, I'm good. I got 2 different little deposits here. Boom, boom. Okay? So once again, on all those little rooms, I've just advanced the ball a couple different things.